everybody. Welcome to MOONCAST. First of all, I want to confirm that you can hear me well, right? Because pretty
Yes.
sure. Yeah, okay. Great. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my MOONCAST. I am Luna, a Vietnamese comrade born and living in Vietnam. And this is my weekly stream. It's called MOONCAST. Hi.
Wait, warn everybody, the volume is about to go up. Everyone, the volume is about to go up, so don't be surprised. Wait, no, it's already up.
It's already up, right? Hi.
Keep talking?
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. My volume is fine, right?
Yeah.
I am very happy today because like the very first comment that I received in the stream today is this. I'm trying to read it. Gloria al socialismo, viva la revolución. Am I doing a good job? Did I do a good job? That's it. Glory to socialism, viva revolution. Thank you so much, Comrade Georgie. Thank you so much. And oh, Kai, I saw that you're staying in your friend's place. I hope that you're having a good time. Audio is fantastic. Thank you so much, Austin. Kicker. Okay. Yes, Kai, I hope that you're having a good time and well, things would get better on your end soon. Gaspar, you like my bracelets? Yeah, I do love it too. It's yeah. I am a kind of person who I mean I can't stop myself from buying this little stuff like my earrings or necklace or bracelets like this. Oh, Zenita. We just learned about the U.S. prison industrial complex engaged in V-coding, which chance famous is horrific. What is V-coding? You know, EJ?
No, I don't know. Look it up.
Yeah. It has something with chance and U.S. prison industrial complex. If you look it up, extreme content warning. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Cornetius, how am I tonight? I am good. A little bit sleepy because somehow last night I was awake until very early in the morning, like 2 a.m. And I woke up at like 7:30, so I slept for like 5 hours only. But I am good. I'm good. Everything is fine. And I just very happy to meet you today. My brain is a little bit foggy today. I'm sorry, Conrad. Peace. Yes. Peace. What about people? How are you tonight, people? How are you? I mean, morning, wherever you are, night, afternoon. How are you recently? There's a lot of things that happened to me in the last week. So it's I was super busy last week. That was why me and EJ couldn't have broadcast this week because we were traveling and the time was kind of not very in our favor. Oh, you just finished moving? Still unpacking your things? Ooh, sounds like our life, right, EJ? Yeah. We never finish unpack our things. Even though doesn't matter how long we stay in a place, we never finish unpacking.
We've been moving for
I don't know.
Since we met
each other
6 years. And we never finish. We never finish moving.
There's always some box out there or suitcase out there that still not.
I'm not kidding. Yet. I've never fully finished unpacking since I left my home when I was 18 years old to go to college.
All the boxes are currently blocking the kitchen. Yup. Do you understand that feeling? It's 11 p.m. in Brazil. Wow, it's 9 a.m. in Vietnam. Wait a minute. The president of the Communist Party of Chile died today? I did not know that. All right. Chile. Wow, how old is him? Communist Party president. Guillermo Tellier. Wow. He's a Chilean politician, educator, and writer, president of the Communist Party of Chile. Wow. Wow. 12 hours ago, I got the news here. It's kind of sad, right? I mean, if he's the president of the Communist Party of Chile, he should be a good guy, right? All right.
Dead air.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I am having brain fog. It's 9 p.m. in Texas. Oh, talking about Texas. How are things lately in Texas? Because like last time I heard about Texas, like a lot of
Texas.
Texas. I'm sorry, Texas. How things been going on in Texas? Tejas. I like that. Tejas. It makes more sense actually. Austin helped their co-workers and get a raise this week. Hey, that's amazing. That's a good news. Congrats, comrade. I hope that yeah. I mean, I don't know how it happened, but I am happy that it happened. And I mean, that is a really great thing that you did. Gosh. Okay, though. Texas has been copying Florida's homework. Oh, yep. They even put Braga U to their schools. Wait a minute. Really? Texas, they put Braga U to their schools, like education system. Braga U is not even a real university. It just like started by a right-winger guy who has like, I believe that it has no education like degree whatsoever or something enough to own a university.
It's a fascist propaganda.
Yeah, fascist propaganda. Texas is acceptable. Agree. I mean, in my head, Florida and Texas always like compete for the number one state. You know, being the.
You might want to be more specific there.
I am about to say like to be number one state in which is more fascist state. Talking about the state itself. Oh, this Vietnamese Karana was about Braga U. Good for you that you know about Braga U. Yes, the U. And this other emoji is very suitable for that. All right, everybody. Today's topic is gonna be about the cooperatives in Vietnam. I'm gonna tell you more about what does cooperative means in Vietnam, how strong the cooperatives in Vietnam are, and talk about the new law that we just got on cooperatives and the strong points and the weaknesses of cooperatives and why you should have more cooperatives in our life. Whoosh, the son is starting school in Florida. Good luck to you and your son. I know it's gonna be rough. Georgia is running neck and neck with Florida and Texas with Coop City. Talking about Coop City. Our last broadcast, we talked about, update on Coop City. But just in case you don't know about it yet, Coop City is a project run by, the police industrial complex in Atlanta. And it's against the people's will in Atlanta. It's not just gonna be bad, really bad for, activities for communities in activists in not just Atlanta, but in America, but in the rest of the world too, because it's going to be a training facility for cops all around the world. And this is a direct answer to the BLM uprising in 2020. And this training facilities are gonna train cops for especially like big uprising in the future, and it's gonna be very bad for the environment too because they were destroying the lungs of Atlanta, the forest over there, and they're gonna poison the water and poison the land, and it takes space, leave the living space of wild animals in Atlanta. So that is why we are having a stop Cop City movement right there in Atlanta. And EJ met, some activists in Atlanta running the Stop Cop City. I hope that you will check it out and spread more of the news information about this huge movement happening right now in Atlanta. Oh, okay. Good news here in Brazil today. Okay. Finally, the government takes action and we're starting next year to tax billionaires. Wait a minute. So they were not taxed before? I did not know that. A very good news for Vietnamese about Vietnam and very super bad news for billionaires here is that the government has been and will continue to crack down on terrible corruption crimes in Vietnam. And I'm not kidding, nearly every single week in Vietnam, there is a news about this billionaire or this CEO or this millionaire that go to jail because of corruption and they work with a high ranking member in the government or something or in the local government. But I mean, yeah, that is the good news for Vietnam that we strongly fighting against corruption right now.
If anybody happened to be paying attention to me adjusting the picture, give us some feedback. Does it look better now?
Hey, I do look better. I think so.
That's me messing with camera settings.
Thanks, EJ. Nevada made it legal for communities to be the government of their own community towns. I need to read this again.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
What does this mean?
I mean, I didn't know that. I don't know if they've passed it yet, but last I checked, Nevada was trying to make laws that basically corporations could be the city councils. They could compose the city councils of cities and towns.
That is that ANCAP dream right there?
It's literally, yeah, ANCAP dream.
It's an ANCAP.
It's been tried before too. Company towns are like,
jeez Louise,
a failed project.
Gosh.
Well, failed from the perspective of humanity, not from the perspective of capital.
Jeez Louise, oh my goodness.
I love it when you say. I love it when Luna says Jesus Louise.
How should I say
it's just funny because like the whole reason Jeez Louise exists is so that people can avoid saying Jesus, but then you just say Jesus Louise.
Sorry.
You don't have to apologize. It's legitimately hilarious.
Wait a minute. Is a new cop city also now being proposed in Maryland that is even bigger than Atlanta? You know about this, EJ? I don't.
I had not heard about that. That's disappointing.
So I think that because they could not do it in Atlanta, they're doing it in Maryland.
Yeah, that's sort of. I mean,
sounds like it.
Well, I don't want to declare victory yet in Atlanta, but I would imagine they're going to start building these things all over the place because they don't want another uprising.
If we don't fight hard enough, somewhere is going to be built. We have to fight against this on all fronts, everywhere.
Kill the Buddha, agree with you.
Dang it!
There are other cops already.
Cornelius, fascist propaganda should be illegal and banned in socialist countries. Don't know if anyone agrees or not. I agree with you. I've been saying so many times already that we Vietnamese, especially Vietnamese socialists and communists, we do not believe in freedom of speech for fascists. Absolutely, fascists should not be allowed to have freedom of speech at all whatsoever, or free press. Come on. But the funny thing is, when we crack down on these fascists or fascist sympathizers, usually Vietnam is blamed for being authoritarian, for oppressing the freedom fighters, the voice of the true Vietnamese. Yeah, Just go check out Human Rights Watch or BBC or Reuters. You will know exactly what I mean.
You look really good now.
Thank you. How do I look now, people? Yeah, I look kind of soft now, right? Yeah.
Soft is not good in photography speech.
Really, my skin. I mean, my skin is kind of.
Soft means out of focus.
Really?
You look soft.
Oh, it doesn't mean that. I don't know.
I know, it's photography lingo. It just makes me nervous when I hear someone say,
Oh my gosh. Okay, I didn't even know that soft means out of focus.
Now you do.
All right, now I do. Hi, you like... Oh, okay, my glasses. This is the cheapest pair that I could find in the store. And I got like 50% discount, so it's even cheaper. But I am happy that you like them. I like them too. That's why I bought them. Do you know children learn Marxism, Leninism in school? Yes. And here you go. This is the curriculum textbook that I translate myself. Here you go. There's some sticker that EJ put it there, but like this is it. Oh, of course it doesn't look exactly like this because I did the cover myself. I drew it myself. Very proud of my work. But anyway, this is the curriculum of the basic principles of Marxism, Leninism that every single student college and university in Vietnam we have to study, and they have to pass all the exams if they ever want to graduate from college or university. So that is an essential, a must subject that students have to pass. Not just study, but have to pass the exam. And actually, self-credit. I failed the first time my Ho Chi Minh taught class. I'm sorry.
Hey, I have
Yes.
a take on that.
Yes.
And this is a bold take, but maybe I am speaking now as the monarch of Luna stands. Okay, so all of my fellow Luna stands in the audience, indulge me on this for a moment. I think that in the future, the fact that you failed your first Marxism Leninism course will be
Ho Chi Minh taught. It's Ho Chi Minh taught to be exact.
I think that will be compared in history by future generations to Einstein failing algebra or whatever. Like Einstein failed some math class. And I think that in the future generations, they're going to look back and compare those two great mental, philosophical,
that'll be a huge
giants.
compliment. That'll be a huge compliment for my Marxist-Leninist Ho Chi Minh taught career.
There's a comparison to be made. All right, thank you for indulging me, Luna stands.
Oh my gosh, it's very embarrassing. It's very embarrassing to tell you that truth that I failed the Ho Chi Minh taught class. And here's the thing, I failed this was because it is an open exam kind of thing. Means that you can bring the book there, but then the truth is you do not have time to even open the book if you want to finish all the questions. All right. So the mistake that I did the first time was that in the exam, I underestimated the amount of questions. We had to answer 100 questions in 45 minutes. That is how F up it was. About 100 questions in only 45 minutes. And I took my time and I opened the book and tried to make sure I got the right answer. And of course, I could not finish the whole entire 100 questions. So that's why I failed. Yes. So the next time I did it. It's like, okay, I didn't even bring the book myself. So okay, just do it. And actually, lucky me, I passed. But yeah, but not just in college and university though. We started learning about Marxism, Leninism, Lenin and Ho Chi Minh, Marx from not gonna lie, from kindergarten, because at that time we studied poetry about Lenin. I remember some poem about like Ho Chi Minh's Lenin's eyes are bright as stars in the sky, something like that. Mắt bác sáng như vì sao, something like that. And in my kindergarten, just learning by heart and that, and like a lot of poems about Ho Chi Minh, of course.
Sounds like someone was kind of hot for Lenin.
Right? And in a primary school and a secondary school, we had a class called Đạo đức, means morality. So at that time in that class, primary school students and secondary school students will learn about how to be literally it taught us how to be socialist people who understand who has socialist values in a sense that we learn to be collective, we learn to care for other people, we learn to put aside our own needs to listen to other people and care for the public security or public health, something like that, like, keep the hygiene. So it's called morality, and it literally means socialist moral kind of class. So that is why, like, we will learn to not being individualist, something like that. And yeah, it's kind of sweet thinking about it. I did not know the true purpose of it. It's just like we thought that it's just learn how to be a good person in the society, to learn how to not be an a-hole, and an individualist
I
a-hole.
think Americans could definitely use that kind of trick.
And in high school, in high schools we learn more. We had some called like môn giáo dục công dân. It means civic education. We learn from that morality class in secondary schools. Now we push it up. We learn about the socialism, socialist regime. What does it mean? Democracy. A little bit about the history and the law of Vietnam, the basic law, human rights, what rights do we have. Also, we learn about dialectical materialism. And I did have some, I did quote the high school education book in Vietnam in this book when we explain what dialectical materialism actually means. So,
Hey,
yes,
I want to.
yes.
Hello, everybody. It's me, EJ, again. I want to tease you all by letting you know that I have read part 2, the historical materialism book, and Luna and I are working on editing it now. And you should be jealous of me because it's awesome. So if you've read, show the book, Luna. Put the book on screen.
I don't have it, do I?
You just
I
held
do.
it up, and you said I put a sticker.
Oh,
on
this,
it.
this.
There you go. Yes. So if you've already read Curriculum of the Basic Principles of Marxism Part 1, wait till you read Part 2, folks, because that's where the rubber's going to
ebook
start.
version too, by the way.
Luna, I was on a roll, and you stepped on me.
Sorry, my bad.
The ebook version is free. You can also, no, you're good. You're right. You were right to pitch the book. You can get the ebook at banyanhouse.org/shop. Luna will put that in the chat, or I will. And also, so part 2 is where the rubber really hits the road, and you start to actually see how dialectical materialism is used in communist analysis of capitalist society and political economy and stuff. I mean, it's not the political economy section, but you start to actually see how it works.
Vinicius said, I have this book, all cap locks.
Congratulations. You have a great book, if I may say so myself. But
hey, I have a silver sticker.
Show it. What is it?
It's a pear. It's a cute pear sitting on a rocket flying.
Do what the pear's
in the
doing.
Sky.
You have to. Gosh. That's the super sticker rule. Luna has to.
It's so hard though. So I'm sitting on a rocket and like this.
There's an animated GIF, folks. Somebody make that an animated GIF.
Thank you, Jacob Chan. I think that you're Vietnamese, right? Are you Vietnamese? This is a Vietnamese family name. Hey, hi, Conrad, xin chào.
But yeah, so anyway, to wrap things up on that, the historical materialism book is going to be great, and you should get it when it comes out, which probably won't be too long because it's not that long. Although we do have to add a lot of annotations because it's dense.
Oh, your father is. Hi. Yeah, I mean, welcome. Hi, Conrad. Very glad to see you here, and thank you so much for your silver sticker. It's really cute. I love that pair on a rocket, flying on a rocket. That's amazing gift. Yes.
I can tell that you really do love that pair.
I do. I do. Yes. So somebody's asking, will there be a hard copy of the book? Yes, there will be a paper copy.
Wait, are they saying hard cover or hard copy?
Is there a paper copy of the book
Yeah.
available?
No,
Yes.
I'll put the link in the chat.
Yeah, please. That's so if you want a paper copy to support us, I am very thankful for that, and thank you so much for you buying it. I hope that you enjoy it. It will help you, in the future. And if you do not like a hard copy or anything, there's this ebook version available, and you can get it for free if you want.
Also, we're going to do a second edition of the Diamap book. Should we tell them all this stuff real quick?
Yeah, do it.
All right, so we're going to put out a second edition of the Diamap book. It's going to do a few things. It's going to correct some little errors, clarify some things, etc. If you already have the book, what we're going to do is issue an errata. So it'll be like a PDF with all the changes we make. And you can print that out and just like keep it with the book or put it in the book or whatever. If you already have it. And if you don't already have it, then you can get the second edition when it comes out.
Yeah.
But also we're considering doing a hardcover version of it if there's enough demand for that. So if you're interested in having a hardcover copy, let us know. It would obviously be more expensive.
Yeah, more expensive in every way because even like it's heavier, so the
shipping will cost more too. Yeah, but I mean, if enough people want that, we could do it. A few people have asked about it, but anyway, and that'll all come out around the same time as the second book.
Yeah, hopefully we're working on it hard. Oh, you have to visit Vietnam next year. Hey, that would be amazing. If you ever visit maybe Da Nang or Hoi An or something like that, hit me up because that where we are living right now, and I hope to I buy you drink. I buy you coconut here. But I mean I really want more and more Vietnamese people living abroad to have time to visit Vietnam. I mean, because Vietnam is very different from a lot of images about us that being fed to you, especially through very right-wing newspaper news outlet or something like that. Vietnam is a very beautiful place. It is very affordable and people is friendly. We are not hateful at all. A lot of even EJ, he told me that before he came to Vietnam, he was afraid that Vietnamese people would hate you or something. Like, no, we are very friendly.
I thought they'd hate me for being American because of the war.
That is really funny. I mean, yeah. So yeah, I hope that you can visit us and visit your home country and meet the people here, try the food over here, and yeah, look at us from your own perspective with your own eyes. Oh, you are traveling in Vietnam right now and you love it so much. Hey, congrats. I really want to travel in Vietnam, actually. A real travel, not any kind of work. But yeah, I mean, the food in Vietnam is good, very affordable. The scenery is just beautiful. It's so much better than America. Well, I mean, here's the thing too. We've been to, we live in Da Nang. We were just be in Hanoi last week. You know what, AJ? Is it true that most of the foreigners that we met, they either lots of them speak Portuguese and Spanish, Espanol, right? Yeah, it's very interesting.
Never
that lots
before
and lots
have
of,
I heard so many Spanish speakers, especially in Vietnam, but like on the plane and in Hanoi, just like everyone around
public
us
places, they're everywhere in the restaurants.
Must be a big trend now in the Spanish-speaking world to visit Vietnam.
Yeah. Orange County had the best Vietnamese food. I really want to go to Orange County and try actual Vietnamese food. A lot of people said that the food there is good, but I also want to suggest you, if you can never, come to Vietnam, try true Vietnamese food in Vietnam. It would, you would be amazed at that too.
Maybe skip the Vietnamese food in Charleston.
Yes, absolutely, 1,000 times better. Yes. Oh man, I really want to go to Havana. Really want to. The biggest issue right now is that we do not have a direct flight from Hanoi, from Vietnam to Cuba. So, and the flight is really expensive. It's about $3,000 for route ticket, I think. So, if I want to fly directly from Vietnam, it would be very difficult about financial issue like that. But I would love to one day, not too far, I can visit Cuba. The second choice that I can do is to somehow in the future I can go to the USA, visit Isaac's family, and also take a flight from the US to Cuba, which is way cheaper. But the hardest part about that is that to get the American visa is not easy. It's total arbitrary kind of system. So, all right. So, I mean, one of the two, one day I will go to Cuba. Absolutely. I believe in the project that Vietnam is undertaking as far as I understand it, and I've never been more eager to learn about Marxism-Leninism in Vietnam. Feels right. I'm happy for you, and I hope that you will visit Vietnam very, very soon. The bees? Actually, bees are not that crazy in Vietnam. If you cannot handle bees, should not go in like springtime. Do not go to like really rural areas.
I feel like the bees are worse in South Carolina than Vietnam. I never really
True. Yes.
noticed that.
The bees are worse. Yes, actually. And also we have a lot of bees farms in Vietnam.
Yeah, don't go to the bee farms.
Do not go to the bee farms. And mostly because of the bee farms or the bees, they have a sufficient kind of flowers in their farm. So usually they do not go outside too much. Sometimes you will see bees, but it's avoid going to Vietnam rural area in the spring times where a lot of flowers. So and other than that, you'll be safe in the cities. Mostly safe. Yeah. All right. It's not a coincidence that countries who refuse to take a strong stance against Nazi having an upsurge of Nazis. That's true. When you tolerate the what do you call it? The bigotry and the racism and Nazism and fascism, they will arise and they will overtake everything. So if we truly care about people, especially vulnerable people, we need to fight against this bigotry and racism and Nazism, fascism in all front strongly all the time.
Sing the song.
Why?
That's the fascist song.
That's a fascist. Tiết bày cho đề hèn của chúng tiến lên nền dân chủ Cộng hòa. Đồng bào tuốt gươm vùng lên, đã đến ngày cha mối thù chung. Tay trong tay, vai kề vai, không phân ra trẻ trai hay gái. Tiến lên, ta đi lên, ta tiến lên, ta diệt quân thù. Việt Nam, Việt Nam, Việt Nam. Ôi đất Việt yêu dấu ngàn năm. So that is a song called Death to Fascists. And the song is written in 1945 and it was to celebrate our victory over fascism and colonialism in 1945, and it almost became the national anthem of Vietnam. So the last two choices was the Death to Fascists or Tiến quân ca, the marching song. And the reason why that song was not picked was just because Vietnam has many more other kinds of enemies than just fascists. Fascists is just one of them. That was why we chose the song Tiến quân ca, the marching song, and talk about our enemies in general. And the enemies we meant by it was because the enemies that we meant was fascists, imperialists, colonialists, something like that too. So yep. And then that song, Death to Fascists, then became the main anthem, the anthem for the national radio station of Vietnam, the Voice of Vietnam. And growing up every single morning, 6 a.m., I would hear that song playing out loud in the propaganda speaker outside my house. And then Đây là Đài Tiếng Nói Việt Nam phát thanh từ Hà Nội, thủ đô nước Cộng hòa xã hội chủ nghĩa Việt Nam. So, đây là Đài Tiếng Nói Việt Nam. This is the voice of Vietnam. Phát thanh từ Hà Nội. Signal from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. So this is the woman's voice. I love her voice so much. She's so famous. Đây là Đài Tiếng Nói Việt Nam, phát thanh từ Hà Nội, thủ đô nước Cộng hòa xã hội chủ nghĩa Việt Nam. Yeah, that's my childhood. That's my very, very much childhood. Nearly every single morning. I mean, if you wake up in early enough, sometimes in super rural area, you still hear it to this day. The only reason why we didn't pick that song was because we had more enemies than just fascists. And then that song was not wasted. The Voice of Vietnam took it as their national anthem too. Their like whole national radio station anthem. Well, I wonder, my uncle told me he lost his wallet in a small village called Đức Phổ. It could be Đức Phổ or Đức Phổ when he was drafted to Vietnam. When he has, I mean, somebody must found it. Absolutely.
He lost his wallet?
Well, poor guy. Oh, that's Geo Super Chat. Hey, thank you. So jealous, can't wait. Just so jealous that you read the historical materialism book, EJ. Geo's jealous of you.
Well, you should. Hold on. You should be jealous because it's a real good book, and but here's what you should not be jealous of: is the process Luna and I have of arduously going through it line by line.
You don't want it. You don't want it.
And making sure everything reflects the spirit and concepts of the original book, and then deciding when to add annotations, and then me struggling to understand some of the concepts, having to wrench it out of Luna's mind.
A nice song. What's its title in Vietnamese? Diệt Phát Xít. It's called Diệt Phát Xít. It literally means eliminate all the fascists. So to be more poetic, we chose like Death to Fascists. Because like eliminate all the fascists is kind of much. Hello, hey. Xin chào. Chào bạn Hoàng. I mean, this is Vietnamese. Come around, say hello to me. I said hello back in Vietnamese. Do you think fascists ultimately serve the interests of capital? I mean,
we have a whole documentary on it.
Yeah, we have a whole documentary about it. Put a link into it. Here's a funny part. So EJ made a really awesome. We together made a really awesome documentary where we took lessons by Professor Michael Parenti, one of the greatest anti-fascist voice in the U.S. I think. He's from New York. He's still alive to this day, but he suffered some kind of severe health issue. But this is an awesome Michael Parenti lesson about fascism, and there are one point that I really appreciate Parenti for speaking it up. It was because we always in history when we learn about fascism from both right-wingers or leftists, we always just ask the question, who supported the Nazis? We always just ask that, and then we try to go back history and look at that. But Michael Parenti brought up a second, I think it's more important question is, who did the Nazis support? That is very important question. Who did they support? Now, please go watch that video.
You just said it just like Parenti.
Oh, really?
He's like, who did the Nazis support?
Yeah, right? Everybody always just ask, who supported the Nazis? But who did the Nazis support? That is very important. The first thing the Nazis did when they took power in Italy and Germany, and even Japan, was to, first of all, suppress all the movement that the working class did. They overturned all the things, the achievement that the working class did. They lowered the salary. They took away the minimum wage. Like the working conditions became worse and worse. There's no protection for workers whatsoever. So like they took away all of the achievements that the working class did for decades. Lots of life lost for that.
Child labor
restored, and then the woman rights was taken away, and it was horrible. And the second thing that they did right after like oppressing the working class was they gave a lot of benefits and monies and land and business to capitalists. So who did the Nazis support? Absolutely not workers. Just look at the workers' history in Italy, in Germany, and in Japan. And look at how many people got rich in the fascist regime in Italy.
And you can watch our documentary.
Exactly, go watch the documentary. Yes. And just, haven't you tried bánh mì Cornelius? I even make bánh mì myself, so yes, I did try bánh mì. It's the best. But the real bánh mì, the real best one is in my hometown's recipe that I make it myself. Am I being too cocky about this? But it's good though. The kind of recipe of bánh mì that not even famous in Vietnam yet. It's not even popular in Vietnam. It's my hometown's recipe that I grew up eating it, and it's not popular in Vietnam outside of my province. So of course, I do not think that it exists in your countries yet, but one day I have a whole video teaching you how to make it. If you can go look it for that recipe, babe, EJ, I would very much, yeah, the best bánh mì of Vietnam. That video in my channel, but yeah. Hey, Overthrow Media, hi there, how are you? We haven't talked lately, but I hope you're doing well. All right. Someone please link the documentary they are talking about, please. EJ, did you link the documentary? Yes.
I did link the documentary.
Here's the documentary right here.
I'll link it again in a second.
Exactly. This.
Here's the bánh mì recipe coming in a second.
Thank you. Oh my.
You're wearing a little sailor uniform. I didn't remember that.
That
Why are you
was.
wearing a sailor uniform?
I don't even know. I just feel like it. Why not? Can I call you Potato Comrade? Potato Comrade already sent a yellow parenti emoji. A bánh mì made with wheat bread. Oh, this is so long story short, because bánh mì was the product that France brought to Vietnam during colonialism. So originally it was made purely from wheat, milk, sugar, something like that, right? Butter.
You just gave credence to the French chauvinist position.
Gosh. Yeah, I just stated you were fight.
You said bánh mì was brought. Most people they don't know what you mean when you say bánh mì.
Baguette. Okay. So when the French colonized Vietnam and enslaved millions of Vietnamese people, they brought one teeny tiny thing, which was their baguette. All right, their bread. It is made from butter and wheat and something like that, sugar. And of course, they brought it here just for them to eat only, and they taught us how to make it so we can serve them. All right, I'm not giving any credit to French colonialists. I hope you understand that. But then Vietnamese, we are very, what did you call it? Resourceful people. So we took the recipe and we apply it into the actual material conditions of Vietnamese people. So because at that time, wheat was very, very priceless and expensive, because in Vietnam, we cannot grow wheat at all. It's really hard to grow wheat in Vietnam. And of course, butter was like a whole new different level of luxury. We couldn't use any butter, cheese, milk, sugar, no. So what all that we had at that time was some wheat, rice flour, and some sugar, and that's just it. So we took that baguette recipe of French colonialists and we modified it a little bit. So the one we did was that, like, when we make Vietnamese banh mi, we didn't use any butter or milk. No, we only use wheat and yeast.
Weed and yeast.
And also some of the rice flour. That was why it's way crunchier than the French baguettes. And
sorry, it sounded like you said you put weed in your baguettes.
Well, wheat. Right? All right. Okay. So yeah, that is the difference between the Vietnamese banh mi and French baguettes. There's no butter, usually no butter, no milk, a little bit of sugar or salt, and we mix rice flour in it. That is why it's way more crunchier than the actual bread. It's French baguette. So yeah, that's it. Butter and milk is made of suffering. Yeah, and also we traditionally do not drink butter or milk because, first of all, cows are very precious in Vietnam because cows were used, are still being used for farming. They are strong, so we like just very precious, and we need them more on a farming like that. So and the cow milk is for the baby cows, only enough for the baby cows. So we did not breed cows to take milk, something like that. Here's the thing too. Sometimes, in super rich, like noble families, landlords families, sometimes they would use like goat milk. They drink goat milk, or they use goat milk to shower to a beautiful skin. But it's rare, but it happened. But it's only happen in super rich family that they can afford that. The vast majority of Vietnamese family do not think cows as a food source. It is a labor source. And hundreds of years ago, we even had a law in Vietnam under the kings, feudalist time, that we were not allowed to eat cows or buffalo at all whatsoever, except they are so weak or they are so old that they cannot provide labor anymore. That is when you had to ask for permission, the feudalist lords for that. So that is how different in our society. So that is why milk or butter or cheese never been a thing in Vietnam in the last decades, because we import a lot of things. So like cheese and milk becoming more and more popular in Vietnam. But mostly in the young generation, like my generation and younger, because my older generation, my mom, my dad, they all lactose intolerant. So that is why they could not take any milk at all whatsoever. Rice with milk is not an option. We have a rice milk. That's totally vegan. We have oat milk, rice milk, lotus seed milk. Mung bean milk. Very, very good. All right, my goodness, it's already an hour and I haven't even touched the main topic today yet. Oh my goodness, you have so many interesting questions in the chat. All right, the main topic today is about the co-op. I'm gonna read this real quick right now. So at least I will, deliver my promise to you guys. Let me share this screen. Oh, this one, right? Oopsie. This. Share this window. This brand new window right here. All right. So.
Share your tab.
The tab is in this Chrome tab. I have to copy it. All right. Okay. All right, here we go. This is about the cooperative in Vietnam. This is an article written by the Communist Party of Vietnam. So it's very interesting. I hope you will enjoy it. Here we go. The article named "The Development of Collective Economic Sector and Cooperatives amidst new generation free trade agreements and some recommendations." I mean, the name is very long and boring, so I promise you the article is very interesting. Do not let this title put you down. Okay. Vietnam has actively negotiated and signed a new generation free trade agreement. So Vietnam, we signed a lot of free trade agreements with a lot of groups or countries in the world, including ASEAN, Europe, Australia, Japan, China, but not USA though. By the way. Yeah. However, difficulties and challenges are posed by limitations in policies and laws on cooperatives. Therefore, legal perfection to improve the competitiveness, expand scale, and enhance the efficiency of the collective economy and cooperatives is paramount importance. Yeah, really going with the persimmon. I think there's a persimmon fruit right here. Persimmon is very common and popular in Vietnam, and we are exporting a lot of persimmons every year all over the world. Vietnam's proactive international integration and participation in new generation free trade agreements open up opportunities for the collective economic sector and cooperatives to expand the market of Vietnamese goods, strengthen international partnership, increase export, blah, blah, blah. In addition to the positive impact, the implementation of new generation FTAs also poses a number of difficulties and challenges for the economy as a whole and the collective economic sectors. Firstly, it is difficult to enter the global supply chain due to failure to meet requirements of the chain, especially in terms of product quality, scale, and quantity. The second challenge is to deal with the risk of protectionism and non-tariff barriers, competitive pressure even in the domestic market, labor, and employment. Yeah, I mean, it's just long story short, it just means that it is very difficult for an agricultural country like Vietnam to export our products to we call the first world countries, because first of all they are racist against our products. They put a super unreasonably high demand for our products in order to enter their markets. And it's very difficult for Vietnam because first of all our style is still very kind of old style. And so we do not have a lot of support to meet all the requirements from the first world country. And at the same time, because those first world countries, they also want to protect their domestic companies, that is why they put a very unfair requirement for our product. The point is to lower our amount of export products, so their domestic companies, corporations can sell more products in their domestic market. So that is the barriers that we had to overcome. The, the development of cooperatives in Vietnam over the past time. Firstly, cooperatives continue to thrive, consolidate, and improve their competitiveness and operational efficiency. The number of cooperatives, union of cooperative teams has increased numbers, diversified in forms and operational modes in localities and association economic restructuring, especially in agricultural sector in the countryside. By the end of 2021, the whole country had 394,000 cooperatives, increased by 7.6% compared to 2020. 108 unions of cooperatives, mainly in the Red River Delta in the north of Vietnam, Southwest and Mekong River Delta. More than 50% of cooperatives unions operate effectively and play an integral role in connecting cooperative members with the market. 100,000, how do you say this? 100,000 and 119,710 cooperative teams with diverse names and operation modes has been established to link and support each other in production, capital mobilization, harvesting, and consumption. Now, this reminds me of a few years ago on Twitter. I don't know, I think they're still active on Twitter. There's just an account named Joe Buckley on Twitter. You can go look for them for yourself if you want. There was an account named Joe Buckley. He claimed to have a doctor of philosophy degree in something like, labor organizing or something like that. I could be wrong, but yes, uh, absolutely a white guy, and he claimed to been living in Vietnam and Cambodia for years. He has a Vietnamese wife, and he wrote an entire book about labor organizing in Vietnam. And he was the one he told to my face that there is no cooperatives in Vietnam. Can you believe that? Like, wow, a doctor philosophy degree guy been living in Vietnam for years, got a Vietnamese wife, wrote a whole book about labor organizing in Vietnam, and told to my face that there is no cooperatives in Vietnam. At that time, I was still naive. That no, I kind of thought that I was wrong, but in fact, that dude, it just ignorant. He just has a whole career lying about Vietnam, trashing Vietnam, meanwhile benefiting from Vietnam. And this story is really, really, I don't know, like hard to believe, but please believe me. You can go Google search or something, like on Twitter or something like that. I don't want to go with that, but that dude Joe Buckley, yes, told me to my face that there's no cooperative in Vietnam. And then his tweets, no, my tweets still exist though. I know, my reply still exists. All of his tweets. So that guy, not long after that, he deleted all of his tweets. So there's no recipes, actually, but you can still go see my replies where I sent him the actual cooperative law in Vietnam. I told him that my mom is a member of cooperative. My roommate started a cooperative, and these are the steps to start cooperatives in Vietnam. And here you go, an article written by directly the Communist Party of Vietnam, giving you the actual numbers of how many cooperatives we have. Over 27,000 cooperatives, and over 100,000 cooperative teams in Vietnam. So the cooperative teams are smaller than cooperatives. They're mostly just like farmers joining together in one local area, then cooperatively working together, not like as a high. So cooperatives come kind of higher level of cooperative teams, and cooperative teams can apply to be a true cooperative if they have been working together productively for over 20 months, and that's it. That's how popular it is in Vietnam. Okay, continue. Cooperatives create jobs and incomes for workers, especially low-income people, support production, and ensure that outputs of their co-op members are consumed, contributing to better social security and sustainable poverty reduction. During the breakout COVID-19 pandemic, the market economy sector and cooperatives show the support role for workers, ensuring social security and creating jobs, especially for the disadvantaged and unskilled labor. Okay, I do not like this unskilled labor thing. This is my disagreement to this article written by the CPP, because I don't think that there is any labor that doesn't need any specific skills. So the unskilled labor is the kind of term that's being pushed a lot by capitalists, or other words, so they call like service workers, or like any job that they think that not important or cannot make much money, they call unskilled labor. But no, there is no unskilled labor. Even the person cutting the vegetables in the restaurant, their skills right there. And eventually they develop their own skills that is very hard to copy. So BS. This is a BS. I disagree with this. I think the only unskilled labor in the world that I agree with is CEO. Because what do they do? Literally the CEO, the CEOs, both Vietnamese or non-Vietnamese that I've been working with, all they did was they would go to the office for like 2 hours every day, staring at the computer. I don't even know what they did. And then all the rest of the thing, They just assign it to other people, and they just like when everybody is working our A's off, they went golfing, chatting and drinking, and then they brought the receipts back to the accountant and asked the company to pay for all of their fee like that. I mean, yeah. So specifically, cooperatives, unions of cooperatives and cooperative groups create more than 40,000 new jobs annually, better incomes for workers, and contribute to sustainable poverty reduction, and accumulate about 18 billion VND in profits. This is a lot of money. My head cannot comprehend that. Therefore, more than 7,000 communes in the country that meet the criteria for organizing reduction in the cooperative model. 7,000 communes. All right. This is a lot of communes. Many cooperatives develop the OCOP, one commune, one product, in association with preserving and developing national cultural identity, contributing to social political stability in the locality. All right. Let's break it down. What is... So communes in Vietnam our system is very different from your system, especially in the USA. Usually in a commune in Vietnam means that every village or every about like 200 like families living kind of close to each other, it is called a commune. And each commune is, like it is like very democratic in a sense that each of the commune will vote for their own leaders. We have like the commune leaders. We have a women union in the commune where the women vote for our own leaders. We have a farmer union in a community. We have a student union, all kind of stuff like that. Veteran union. So that is like we build from grassroots level like that. And so we are very well organized. We are a country that has over 100 million people, but we are very well organized in that sense.
I think this is a real key point about Vietnam and the socialist values of Vietnam that a lot of people don't recognize or understand or something. Because so we have a good comrade who just was in the USA. I'm not going to give any personal details, but basically trying to help this family. This family has a lot of problems. They suffer in a major city, and they have a lot of issues with disability, and one of them is a victim of abuse, and they just have a lot of problems, and they just have like basically their plumbing wasn't working, or like most of their plumbing wasn't working. I think only their bathtub was working in terms of a water source, and it's just really, really bad living conditions, right?
Yeah.
And this family's been struggling like this for years now. This is in the USA, and they just don't know what to do. They can't get support from the government. They don't have any support network, right? Which is pretty common in the USA if you're in a major city, and especially if you're struggling with things like disability or mental illness or things like that. It's like you can really be alone and not even be able to even like food and water and things like that can be very unstable.
Yeah.
Like with this family, right?
Yeah.
And the whole time we're hearing this story, we're like, this could not happen in Vietnam, because in Vietnam things are so organized.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if this happened, if you were in an apartment building and you had these problems, you have your commune you can go to, you have your ward you can go to, you have, if you're a woman, you can go to the women's union. If you're young, you can go to the youth union. There are so many support structures. You have your workers union, all these different support structures, and somebody eventually at some point will be able to help you. I mean, you will be getting help from multiple sources actually.
Yeah.
All you have to do is reach out to these support structures, and I've seen it happen. Like I've lived in Vietnam long enough that I've seen how these support structures actually work. I watched it support me through COVID. Like when we went through COVID, our neighborhood, our commune, sprung into action immediately. Everyone kind of had a role already out of the gate before COVID even started, so there wasn't any question about like what to do. It was like just everybody just kind of got to work and started organizing everything. And anyway, it's just heartbreaking, because we get stories from our audience all the time too, from people talking about how they're struggling with disability and they have all these problems. They can't get things fixed in their house and stuff like that. And it's just there's this aspect of Vietnam's organization that has, I would say, what do you call that? Emergent properties, right? So like the fact that things are so organized here means that there are like intangible, non-material ways that Vietnamese people benefit that aren't necessarily reflected in like a law or a statistic or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that's really important to
Yeah, that's very
focus on
important.
for a
Yeah.
second.
I mean, that story is very different from, if it happens in Vietnam, it would not be that, a problem at all for that long. Because like the community, as I said, we are very well organized from grassroots level like that. So nearly everybody would know about each other, and we immediately support if somebody needs help. And I personally went to so like if you're like if you're in poverty or near poverty line in Vietnam, which is voted by the commune, all right. Here's the thing too, like the funny thing, the difference is that in the U.S., what they sign that you're in the poverty line or not is purely based on your income. You have to go prove that to the government where you live. In Vietnam, we use multi-dimensional kind of statistic, means that if we meet one of the four criteria, we are in poverty. One of the four of them are clean water, health care, internet, housing, or something like that. I could be wrong, but like you can check out the multi-dimensional kind of statistic like that, kind of criteria. And if you meet just one of the four, you are in poverty. And also at the same time, in our community, we have a meeting nearly kind of once every few months or something like that. And it's where we talk about families in the commune that should be in poverty or not, and if anybody apply to be like in poverty in that commune, the people will check and look at it and vote for it to it will decide democratically by the people in the commune like that. And once they like they are in poverty or near poverty line, they have free health care. Education is very close to free too. It's very affordable already, but it's close to being free. And the global government also help them build a house, free housing for those people. And they also got allowance every month. And kind of, it's not a lot because we're still a very poor developing country, but at least it's something. And we truly feel like there's nobody is left behind in Vietnam. Everybody would, have some help. So they would not be like homeless on the street, something like that. Also, at the same time, they will be assigned a plot of farm that they can work on it. It would not make them rich, but it would stop them from being hungry because they have some farm to work on, to grow rice or vegetable or something like that. So yeah, it's very, 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 very different from the system in the USA. All right. About one commune, one product. It just means that we try to develop it in a sense that one commune will focus on one product. It's just simple like that. So here's the thing. Before this, especially in the feudalist time, what we grow depended on the decision of the landlords. All right. So the farmers, actual farmers who work on the land, didn't have any decision whatsoever in what to grow in that piece of land because they did not own the land. But in now Vietnam, thanks to the land reforms in 1950s, farmland was allocated equally to every single farmer in Vietnam. About 70% of Vietnamese people are farmers. And if you were born in a rural area, you will be allocated a free piece of farmland. And I talk about this a lot. I made a whole video about this, the land reform in Vietnam. All right. So with that kind of things, before that, because we each of us own our own piece of farm, so we have a total freedom of growing whatever the heck we want, right? And over time, because of lacking of organizing and planning like that, we could not use all of our potential kind of strengths for that because we just do it like kind of individuals, just whatever we feel like we grow it. But the fact is, farming is a very kind of collective kind of action, and we need a lot of land and a lot of labor to effectively manage a piece of land. That is why with the cooperative, especially agricultural cooperatives in a lot of rural areas in Vietnam, the local government help the people in one locality, to like pick one product only and put all of our effort and time and money in producing that one product and make it really, really, really good. We do not make too many products in one area anymore. We whole area grow one product only, and we make it high quality, good price. It is better for managing. It is better for the helping the farmers to enhance their skills, have more skills, and make more money, because it's also better for logistic too. Because for example, kind of factory like lychee. Vietnam is very famous for lychees, right? A kind of very delicious fruit. And we have a whole cooperative together grow lychees. We have a good, like water system and can fertilizer, blah blah blah. That lychee, so that cooperatives would have enough lychee to have a lychee factory right near it, so we can, can lychees. We make lychees in a can, put it in the cans, and then export them abroad outside of Vietnam. That is better for logistic and better for doing business to export our products, something like that. And yeah, I think that is a very good idea to produce, to promote one commune, one product kind of program. In some regions, the number of members participating in cooperative groups, and unions of cooperatives were higher than 2020. Cooperatives in a number of fields increased their charter capital. Regarding the total number of members, the market economy sector and cooperatives attracted more than 7 million members. Remember this. This is an important number. Okay. There are more than 7 million members of cooperatives in Vietnam, increasing by 23,000 compared to 2020, and employing currently 2.5 million workers. All right, a lot of money. The capital cooperative reached nearly 50 trillion VND. Oh my goodness. 1.8 billion VND per cooperative. That's a lot of money. All right. The number of cooperatives applying high technology in production and businesses associated with key agricultural product, the country, region, and locality, and product traceability and branded product tends to increase. Yep. By the end of 2021, there were 4,600 cooperatives, equivalent to 17% of total number, applying high technology in production. Many cooperatives invest in renovating technology and equipment in management and trade promotion. All right. Secondly, many cooperatives started to actively integrate into the world, make good use of the incentives brought by new generation FTAs, and export, and like particularly some become direct exporters. Wow, this is amazing, because most of cooperatives in Vietnam just export their products through a company. But nowadays, there are more and more cooperatives that export their products directly by themselves, made by themselves and export by themselves. Cooperative unions of cooperatives and cooperative groups actively participate in exporting agricultural products. Many cooperatives have built product brands in the international market to increase volume and quality of goods, meeting the requirement and condition of different markets, including highly demanding markets. All right, so one of the very famous cooperative products in Vietnam that export to other countries are usually agricultural products such as tea, the snow shan, the shan tuyết tea in Vietnam, very famous. Honey, kind of fruits such as lychee, or mangoes, or jackfruit, or durians. Yeah, they are all made from cooperatives in Vietnam, something like that. All right. 191 cooperatives has branded their products and export directly, Many high-standard products have been exported to major markets such as Japan, America, and Europe. All right. Thirdly, the Vietnam Cooperative Union system plays an important role in enhancing the cooperativeness of cooperatives. Okay, so remember that we do not just have cooperative teams or cooperative, we have the unions of cooperatives. That is how powerful it is. The Vietnam Cooperative Alliance, VCA, including Vietnam Cooperative Alliance at the central level of 63 provinces. Okay, the VCA of Vietnam, God darn it. All right. Plays an important role in improving the operational efficiency of cooperatives, as well as strengthening trade promotion and investment for cooperatives with international partners. All right. Specifically, the VCA is responsible for encouraging, giving consultation and support to the establishment, reorganization, and transformation of most of the cooperatives in accordance with the law in Vietnam. Okay, mobilizing resources to build optimum a model for production cooperatives associated with value chains and technological application. Plus, it is tasked with representing, protecting the legitimate rights and interests of its members, providing legal advice to member cooperatives, coordinating with relevant agencies and branches of all levels to settle petition, problems, and complaint, inspecting and supervising activities, closely coordinating and performing well the role of members of Vietnam Fairland Front. All right, so what I just listed was the purpose of the VCA, why the Union of Cooperatives exists in Vietnam. This is to do this, right? Oh my gosh, so long.
The thirst of the swear jar will not be quenched today. You're doing a good job not cussing, Lynn.
Oh, really? I'm holding myself back a lot. The VCA plays a part in providing public service and mobilizing resources to support the market economy and cooperatives to expand and improve the quality and efficiency of their operations. All right, offer training, all right, giving loans, consulting service, prepare for loans, blah, blah, blah. All right. We have cooperation with 150 international partners. I did not know this. Interesting. All right, this is very important. All right, move on.
We got a question.
Yes.
Are there any coffee farms, co-ops in Vietnam? I know Vietnam is one of the biggest coffee exporters in the world.
Of
the
course.
answer is
Yes.
every coffee farm in Vietnam is a co-op, right?
Yeah.
I mean, more or less. I mean,
more or less.
you can explain that in more detail.
Yeah, I mean, the vast majority of farms in Vietnam are cooperatives. Because
The only options are A, owned by like an individual farmer, B, owned by like a family, or C, owned by a cooperative, right?
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a corporate farm in Vietnam or a
There's no
for-profit
corporate farm in Vietnam.
business farm.
Yeah.
And that's correct, right? I'm saying that correctly? Okay. Now, wait, we should stipulate that, just to be accurate, the companies that package and process the coffee can be private companies, can be for-profit companies. But the actual land and the farming and the agriculture cannot be.
Yeah, the product itself is co-op. And what the company can do is they, clean it up or package it and then
Roast
export it and find a way to export that.
Yeah. But the farmers are all cooperative.
Yeah. Some limitations and obstacles that we still face to this day, cooperatives. All right, let's move to what difficulties we have. The development of the market economy and cooperative is still facing numerous difficulties, especially in agricultural production due to the absence of mechanism for land allocation and land lease. The law on cooperatives in 2012 stipulates that cooperatives and unions of cooperatives operating in the fields of agriculture, forestry, fishery, and salt production are entitled to policy of land allocation and land lease to serve activities of cooperatives. However, the 2013 land law does not stipulate the allocation of land to economic organizations, including cooperatives and unions of cooperatives. So in long story short, it means that the law of Vietnam is not really, the new law in 2013 is not really clear about how to allocate land for cooperatives in Vietnam. It did not make it clear. All right.
We got this question too. I guess it's more comment. Hope these private firms are unionized. You can talk about that. And what I will do is I will share the links to your videos on labor law and the land reform video in the chat so people can get more info. But you can give a short answer to the unionization question.
So I can give you this. About 90% of Vietnamese workers are unionized. Yeah, the workers' union in Vietnam is a very powerful entity that has more than 11 million members, even more members than members in cooperatives in Vietnam. Cooperatives has like 7 million. Okay, so here's the thing. I tell you this, straight fact. The Communist Party of Vietnam has 5 million members. The cooperative unions in Vietnam has more than 7 million members. And the workers' unions in Vietnam has more than 11 million members. So that is how powerful it is. So about 90% of workers in Vietnam are unionized. And our goal is that in the next few years, in the next decade, 100% of workers in Vietnam will be unionized. So I can tell you that vast majority of workers in these exporting companies are well unionized. And this is what the difference in Vietnam. I tell you a little bit about, how powerful it is for workers' union in Vietnam. For example, a while ago, that the actor protesting still happening in the U.S. right now, right? Lasted for months already. It's still going on. And there was a Vietnamese liberals on Facebook said that, the workers in the U.S. has so much rights, so many rights. Is that tens of thousands of them are protesting right now. That's how powerful they are. They protesting months on end. They're still doing it. And I was like, are you serious? Are you kidding me? The fact that tens of thousands of workers in the U.S. protesting for months and nothing happened, it is exact proof of the opposite. Exact opposite. That they are not protected. They don't have any rights. That is why tens of thousands of them protesting for so long and nothing changed. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, if workers, just a few hundreds, or even few dozen, just protest just for one day only, immediately the workers' union in the area with the workers' union in the factory with the local government together would go and directly talk to the owners of the factories of the company, and they will settle things down so quick that most of the workers' strikes in Vietnam do not last more than 2 days. Because only after 2 days, all their demands are met. Because they are well protected, they are helped and supported heavily by the local union, the workers' union, and the local government. And they would go and talk and put pressure on the factories on meeting all the demands of the workers. That is how out of touch those Vietnamese liberals are. It is ridiculous that workers over there, tens of thousands of them protesting for months and nothing happened. The companies still just ignore their demands and keep doing what they're doing. It means that the companies, they did not give a shit about their own workers. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, the workers don't even have to protest more than 2 days, and then all demands are met. And workers in Vietnam, they strike for numerous reasons. For example, in my hometown a few years ago, there was few hundreds workers in the factory. They striked because they wanted to have a roof in their parking space. Because they want their vehicles to be protected from the weather. And they've been asking for the company to do that. The factory failed to do that, so they strike. So, of course, after a few days, 2 days, something like that, the company agreed to build a new roof for the whole parking space in the factory, so they had it. Or in a different province, few hundreds workers protest a strike because they wanted better food, better free lunch. Yeah, and then they did have better lunch. It's just simple like that. That is how powerful and strong. It's so strong and powerful in Vietnam that we don't have to strike long at all. And nearly every single day there's strikes somewhere in Vietnam. That is the difference.
One funny thing about most of the strikes that happen in Vietnam are wildcat strikes, right? I mean, the workers just like...
They feel like it, they strike. According to the law, they must apply for the permission to strike, but most of the time, none of them follow that because like, no, when we want to strike, we strike. So what?
And it's not like they get in trouble.
No, they could not. We could not put any pressure on them because like there's no way if they mad about something they strike. Okay, the local government and the union workers, like workers union, better go and help. Yeah, so yeah, they don't receive any pushback. Actually, it's the local government that got heavily criticized by the higher central government because they were not good at supporting the workers fast enough. So yeah, because of the Vietnamese liberals, because they never heard of any long strike in Vietnam, so they thought that workers in Vietnam never strike, so it means that workers in Vietnam doesn't have any rights. Like how twisted their mind is, you know? Like they don't know nothing about their own home country. EJ, fix your mic. Fix your...
My mic's off.
All right.
My mic's off now.
How do Vietnamese people file people when the companies lose money? I mean, they will have to... So here's the thing. When the pandemic happened, for example, in 2020 and 2021, a lot of companies in Vietnam, they lost money and they could not continue, their business anymore. There are two main things that can happen to them. First of all, if they still believe that they can keep doing this after the pandemic, what the government did was they offer them low interest loan to the companies, but it's different. Do not think that we did it like the US did, mean that they like buy off the rich companies like in the US. But this is like the government gave them low interest loans so they can use that loan to pay minimum wage for their workers to wait until the pandemic is gone and everything's back to normal. So that's solution number one. So the money was not used to put the pocket of capitalists at all. The only way that they can use that money that they borrow low interest from the government is to use that money to pay minimum wage for workers while the workers stay at home for quarantine. Understand that? The solution number two is kind of a little bit worse, is that when the company, they were so bad that they could not continue anymore, they have to shut down, they file bankruptcy, then apply for bankruptcy. So after that, thousands of workers, it's a true story, few thousand of workers in this factory in the south of Vietnam, textile, I think, because they could not continue anymore and the guy had to apply for bankruptcy. The whole factory shut down. So a few thousand of workers lost their job. What did the government do? What the government did at that time was that the government and the workers' union immediately jump in, have a meeting with all the workers that are about to lose their jobs in a factory because the factory is about to close down. And they immediately go to different factories in that same area and talk to them like, hey, do you need workers? Do they need more workers? And if you take these workers, you will have a special loan from the government. And yes, we did find new jobs for all of those workers. That's how awesome it is. We ran around and after because not all the, there are at the same time, there are a lot of factories that still need more workers. And they're still doing well in the COVID situations. That's just mass making factories. They need more workers, right? Something like that. So yeah, we going around and find a job. So that is how it works in Vietnam. So pretty well, right? At least it's a decent solution for a very bad situation like the pandemic. So
So there is no bailout for capitalists in Vietnam, but there are always bailout for workers in Vietnam. So workers in Vietnam, if they are not, they cannot go to work because of the quarantine or the pandemic, they can stay at home and they receive minimum wage. If they lose their job, the local government and the workers union will find them. They help them find a new job too.
Okay. Did you quit or get fired from your last job or laid off?
I quit.
You quit, and you still got full workers' comp, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But maybe tell them about that.
Yeah, that's very funny because
cool.
I was shocked when so a few years ago when I quit my office job, and I just quit by myself. I mean, I decided to quit. And after I quit, I just asked for a letter from the HR department to affirm that, hey, this person quit the job. All right. So I brought that letter and also my insurance book to prove that I've been paying my social insurance over the year. And yeah, the local government just like, okay, this is your monthly allowance. So I got 60% of the salary that I've been made in the last 6 months. Is it pretty great? And I received that for 3 months straight. And I didn't have to prove that I was unemployed for that whole 3 months. Everything that I did was to go there once every month, one morning every month. To just like, they go there, I went there, they asked like, you have the new job there? I said, no. Okay, here's this month's allowance. So that's how it works in Vietnam. You just start working for a company, just ask for a resignation letter, stamped by the company, and bring your insurance book there, and there you go. You're gonna receive 3 months of unemployment insurance. Yeah. So after that, I learned that in the U.S. you can only receive unemployment insurance if you are fired, right, by the company without any actual reasonable reason. Is that true?
No. Are you asking me a question?
Yeah.
You need to get my attention. What?
Is that true in the U.S. that you only receive unemployment insurance when you are fired? Not when you quit?
Yeah. No, in fact, companies will try to trick people into quitting or abuse them into quitting so that they don't have to pay workers' comp.
That is so BS, though. I have my right to have an unemployment insurance, so I have to receive it. When I quit the job, it's BS to me.
Yeah, no, it's like if they fire you for what's called reasonable cause or something, or justifiable cause or something like that. If they fire you and they have like a official good reason, quote unquote, then they don't have to pay it either.
That is bad. It is a horrible system. Yeah, and Bill said if you quit, you don't get unemployment insurance. Like, what? Okay. In Vietnam, it doesn't matter. You start working for a company, yes.
You chose as an individual. You made the individual moral choice to quit. You could have stayed and kept getting the generous money that your employer so generously bestows upon you, but you chose as an individual to quit.
Even though you might be being abused at work, you might be being harassed at work, you might be being physically...
like my health problem.
Yep.
Also, at the same time, this is important to tell you too, in case you don't know about it yet. Maternity leave and paternity leave in Vietnam is pretty good, actually. So not like in the US where most of you do not have a maternity leave, let alone paternity leave. But in Vietnam, when a worker is pregnant, it is in the law that we are protected by the law of Vietnam that we could not be fired at all. So when we got a job and we found out we're pregnant, that is like a big protection that the company cannot fire me. And if they fire me, I'm going to sue them. I want to win. They're going to give me a lot of money because of that. So yeah. And once I'm pregnant, the company will have to pay me 6 months allowance, yes, full salary for that 6 months so I can have a kid. I raise my kids. I can be off for 6 months. And if I work earlier than that, the company will have to pay me double allowance for that. Not exactly double, but like more than my actual salary. And after 6 months, I come back to work. In the next 6 months, it's like 1 year, actually, 1 year. This next 12 months, I can go home earlier every day, like 30 minutes to an hour, because I have to go home and feed my baby. So yeah, I can go home an hour earlier every day. So it's pretty freaking great. And fathers can also have a paternity leave from 1 to 2 weeks. And if the mother somehow died during the birth, the father will receive the exact same maternity leave as their wife to take care of the kids. So that's what it is. And of course, the father also in that 2 weeks also receive monthly salary, enough salary, full salary for that. It's pretty great.
Pretty good.
Yes. Oh, let's finish this article. Oh my goodness. All right.
20-minute warning.
My throat hurts.
Just water.
Yeah. Cooperatives does not fully benefit from some of the policy. For example, cooperatives are not allowed to do
This
business.
is all we got.
This is
Do you want an Aquarius? It's so humiliating. Do you want an Aquarius?
This is how we drink water. We put water and we put a filter and we suck it out from the
Would
bottle.
you rather have an Aquarius?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yes.
So cooperatives are not allowed to do business and invest in a number of industries. Why this regulation not binding for enterprises lawfully established according to the provision of the law on enterprise? It means that it's not clear about where we cannot invest. All right. Next, move on. Okay, cooperatives, this is the big issue right here. Cooperatives tend to allocate all the profits to the members, leading to low internal capital accumulation and lack of resources for growth. So long story short, this means that we are too hushy on allocating our profit every year. So we do not keep anything as kind of capital for the next year's business. That is a big problem. We are too democratic about this. So that the problem is that it's not good for the next year's business. So that is actually a few months later after this article was written, Vietnam came up with a new law called cooperative laws, and that every year at least the minimum of 5% of profit in a cooperative will be kept for the next year's capital. It's a minimum of 5%. So before that, they just allocate all the profit that they made, but now they have to keep at least 5% for capital for next year. It's very reasonable, right? It's just, if you want to be bigger in the next year, make a better profits for the members next year, you better keep at least 5% to start. All right, so almost finished the article. Almost. This is one of the very important points that we make. Cooperatives face difficulties raising capital and do not separate to share capital from that of members. Cooperatives should be a legal entity independent of its members in terms of asset ownership and responsibility. However, in the 2012 law on cooperatives does not clearly stipulate that when contributing capital, members have to transfer their ownership of assets to the cooperative. So that is mostly it. The problems that cooperatives facing in Vietnam mostly is because of the lack of capital for the next year, or it doesn't have a rise or power as a one entity. Mostly still depend on the rise and power as a single member. So not good for business if they want to do bigger business to export their products to international market. Oh my gosh, Comrade Brodsky, I worked for a company that cut my entire cruise hours in half in order to get us to quit. Oh my goodness. If that happened in Vietnam, no, it won't happen in Vietnam because the workers immediately would join together in the union and strike, or sue the company or report that to the local union and the local government. And that company will be terribly punished. And they will have to give the money back to the workers, the money that they owe. Oh. Our benevolent employers give us these jobs because they are so kind and generous, and all they ask in return is that you never quit and look what you did. Gosh. Okay, I'm checking the chat right now. We have about 15 minutes left. Yeah. Camarada Cow said, drink water, guys. Yeah, thank you so much for your advice. I wonder if anybody in the chat can understand the reference that EJ is making right now. If you watch this as a VOD later, please comment in the chat if you recognize that reference. The Employee Free Choice Act would guarantee that a 50% vote through signature submission would automatically form a union by passing an election. 50%, huh? In Vietnam, you know what? You know how many does it require to form a worker union in Vietnam? 5 people. If there are more than 5 workers in a working place want to have a union, there must be a union. End of story. We didn't give a dang about 50% or not. No, only 5 people. Okay. I live in Florida. We have a fastest governor, and our state government would just side with the corporations like always. I mean, it is a dystopian talking about the workers, right? Yeah. And also a company that in operation, new company startup that operate for they within 6 months is either 5 workers want to form a union, if not, but still within 6 months of operations there must be a union. If within that 6 months there's not enough 5 workers in a workplace that form a union or file an official letter to form a union yet, then the local union department and the local government would send representatives to that workplace, have meetings with workers to educate them about the importance of having a workers union and why they should have it, and then they will instruct them how to start a union. So, and then I mean, there are still few like shitty companies that do not have a union after 6 months yet, and they will be heavily punished by the local government when they fall down or the workers report that to the local government. And that is why we are very confident in planning that in the next few years, I think by 2030, if I am not wrong, 100% of workers in Vietnam will be unionized because we are very much well educated about that, and 90% of our workers unionized already. So it's not that big of a step to be taken. Oh my goodness. Florida, a racist mass shooting followed by a category 3 hurricane. Fastest governor. More focused on running for president than his actual job. Yep. Oh yeah. Hey, Wells comrade, please email us at noncompetecoop@gmail.com. Here you go. And we can work on something together. Yeah, please email that. noncompete@gmail.com. Thank you so much. I never talked to a Wales rep before. Oh my god, I had to watch some creepy anti-union videos during the hiring process for a few jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh. The state of unionism in the US is pretty pathetic. And also at the same time, many of your workers' unions are totally gutted, bought off by the companies. They work for the companies. They're not even, what kind of the purpose of union? Why do they exist if they do not, allow strike? There are unions in the US that do not allow strike. Like, what in the world? The whole point of having a union is so that a worker can strike.
That's the whole point of, that's why the IWW got basically gutted around World War I, and the bourgeois proletariat unions took over. We got this question about interviewing an Indian comrade, and you have talked to Indian comrades.
I did.
Yeah, it was when we talked about
Dialectical
Materialism. So I'll put a link to that in the chat.
Yeah.
But we'd of course like to talk to more Indian comrades for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, Emma. I had to sign a document saying that I won't try to start a union before I got hired at KFC. Really? Really? Government union workers can't strike. Okay. Gosh, pathetic. Apparently the hurricane category 4 now. Jeez Louise. Anti-union sentiment is so strong in the US ruling class that anti-union training software is an entire market in itself. Yes, we did watch a documentary about a company who paid $1 million for anti-strike campaign. I mean, they could have just used that $1 million in supporting their workers and like raise their salaries, or that's a freaking $1 million. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Because use that money to improve the working conditions, giving them some free snacks, free lunch or something, or just like give them allowance something. But no, they must spend that $1 million on anti-union campaign. They hire experts in anti-union to go and talk to the workers to persuade them from not unionizing. I just really want to punch my screen when I watch that.
You can't afford a new laptop.
Nope. In states like Alabama, among others, the police get actively involved in breaking strikes. This happened during the recent miners' strike against warrior met coal in Vietnam. You can go just Google search worker strike in Vietnam. There are a few police in Vietnam during that strike, but all they did was that to make sure that there's no violence in this. It's just it. It's not to oppress or stop striking workers at all whatsoever. They just stand there just to make sure that nobody will start an actual fight or any violence, or if somebody got hurt, they immediately can go and take them out of the strike and bring them to hospital. It's just it. And the number of the strike workers and the number of police is pathetic, because usually that strikes a few thousand workers. They have like less than 10 cops standing around. That's just it. It doesn't mean that I'm praising the cops or I love the cops or something. It's just like they're not even that active here. That's when the workers strike. Yeah, they are restoring child labor. True.
Australia too.
Australia too. Great. Make America great again by bringing back child labor. Yes. I mean, it doesn't mean like before this, child labor was never tracked in detail in the U.S. You don't have any clear report about number of child labor in the U.S. But now they actively bringing it back. They legalize it. You know, children under 16 can go to work and they can be paid like lower than actual full grown up, full adults. And they make it happened in Australia. There's a town in Australia. While I read the article, it's posted on ABC News in Australia, official site. In the town in Australia that they like workers so badly that they hire primary school students to go work in a restaurant. And it's so great, and they made a heartwarming story about that. They're like, hey, look at these kids. They are so innocent. They are so active. They are so productive. After school, they go to this restaurant and they learn how to chop bell peppers and vegetables, and they love this. And
they work in like a factory too, like a jam factory.
Yeah, jam factory. Yes, restaurant and jam factories, where they learn how to, value, agricultural products, and they even receive what do you call it like rewarded salary. Folks, they are not even received full salary. They receive awarded salaries, means that underpaid. Okay, they underpaid, and then all of their tips, they are not even allowed to keep their tips. Oh my goodness, in that restaurant. All their tips are all donated to a charity group, the local charity group. So like those kids, they could not play or learn or study in their free time. They had to go to work. They are underpaid, and they are not even allowed to keep the tips. And they are painted as like happy working children like that in Australia. You go and check it out. It's ABC News. Couldn't believe that, as I say. A serious, heartwarming story that they think they're trying to write. Local amusement park hires 14-year-olds. Well, a recent SCOTUS ruling made it easier to use retaliatory lawsuit against workers who strike. I didn't know child labor is in Australia now, not just alive and well in Australia. It is a heartwarming story. It's supposed to be a heartwarming story where kids actually care for the business and learn to value the product, value the labor, and that would be the good start for their future career.
The article?
Yes, I did. Several restaurants require workers to give all tips to management so they can pull them into profits. It makes me do not want to tip workers anymore because like what? I'm not tipping actually workers. I'm tipping the fucking company. Oh, sorry.
You broke the streak, Luna. You only had 3 minutes left. You only have 3 minutes left.
Ding! Ding! Self-crit.
So disappointing.
Self-crit. I'm disappointed in myself too. Only 3 minutes left. Oh my goodness. Dang it.
The reason we have instituted the no swearing policy is because YouTube has started to crack down on like all naughty language algorithmically. So we have to be careful about it.
I'm sorry, comrade. Self-crit. 3 minutes left.
I don't think the audience cares. It's more about just
it's more about the algorithm. Is it because a of a move for cheaper labor that this legislation is passed, or does it aid union destruction?
Yes.
Yes.
The answer to both questions is
Yes. Hello now. Get this. Okay. Getting it. According to the Economic Policy Institute, wage theft costs U.S. workers as much as $50 billion a year, far higher than all robberies, burglaries, and motor vehicle thefts combined. Yes, wage theft is the biggest crime in the USA that it is heavily protected by the law and by the cops and will never be addressed. That is the nature of the bourgeois state. The bourgeois state, like the USA, exists to protect the benefits of the ruling class, the bourgeoisie. It's not a democracy. It's a democracy for the bourgeoisie.
And let me say that when you read part 2 of the curriculum Luna's translating, it talks about all this. It talks about exactly how bourgeois democracies form, why they form, and how they serve the interests of the ruling class.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout for part 2 of the curriculum coming out soonish.
Yep.
But if you haven't read part 1 yet, you need to read that first. If you don't read part 1 first, part 2 will make absolutely no sense. You'll be completely lost because you have to understand the basic principles of dialectical materialism.
If Scenario thinks wage theft is bad, wait till they learn about labor theory of value. Well, yeah, part 2. We hope that the part 2 will be out by early next year, hopefully. The same time as this year, the first book, hopefully. Okay, so actually we are over time, folks. I'm really happy to be here today with you, and we would right after this we would go back to cooking, cleaning, and working on the book. All right. Thank you so much. Let me check my stream element real quick to make sure I won't miss any. What in the world is that? Okay. Slow.
Are you getting the stream?
I am.
You can do it.
Activity.
What are you trying to do?
Ayo, I'm just checking my stream elements just to make sure. Oh, I mean, there was a super chat and there was a donation from Jacob John too. Thank you so much. The message is peace and joy. Aw, thank you so much. I did miss this donation, but I did not miss the super sticker though. It was a cute little pair with on a flying rocket. Forever remember that. I love it so much. Okay. Bye everybody and see you next week. Thank you so much for all the support, donation, and super chats. Bye everybody.